Hey all, and welcome to my vlog! My name is Erin, and this is all about ARC reviewers. I'm going to be taking you through the whole process. I'm not going to be including review websites like NetGalley because I have not used them. This is specifically for authors who are reaching out to reviewers. So, to start at the most basic level, what is an ARC? An ARC is the advanced reader copy. It is the imperfect form of your book that is available to you before publication. Often your ARC will not have gone through proofreading yet, but it's equally possible, depending on your process, that it could be your perfect end result book. What matters here is the advanced part of this. You need it available so that you can offer it to reviewers prior to your book coming out so that they can spread the word. What is an ARC reviewer? An ARC reviewer is exactly what it sounds like. They're someone who reads and reviews ARCs. They can technically be anyone, but the whole goal of having ARC reviewers is to spread awareness of your book, so it's going to be very beneficial for them to have a platform, such as a book blog, a booktube channel, or a bookstagram. They don't have to have an enormous following, but good engagement is really important to spread hype. How do I find ARC reviewers? If you're not already following bookish blogs, booktube channels, etc., then you're gonna have to fall back onto the old standard of research. The starting point is as simple as Googling book blogs, clicking on the bookstagram hashtag on Instagram, or looking up booktube channels on YouTube. That'll give you a general point of reference and you can work outwards from there. Seek out people who are very clearly interested in the genre that you're writing, and then you can use those accounts to further branch out. See who they're tagging in posts and what other channels they talk about, and then you can check out those channels and continue that process. How many ARC reviewers do I need? Honestly, as many as you can get. The reality of this is very similar to beta reading. You're going to get non-responses, you're going to get ghosted, you're going to have people who won't follow through, and you will also find people who love your book and really believe in it. If you contact, say, 100 reviewers, expect about a third of them to respond, and then a portion of those will go on to actually review the book. If you're contacting a lot of reviewers, you absolutely have to be prepared for every single one of those to come back as a yes. While that is unlikely, you do have to be prepared to send out that many books. Do ARC reviewers cost money? Maybe. It's entirely dependent on who you are contacting for reviews. Some of them will charge money for their time and services, and some won't. The difference here is that if you're paying for a service, they're going to be obligated to complete it because you paid for it, and the other ones, they're volunteering to read your book, so there's always the chance that they will decide to not read it, or they'll run out of time and it just won't happen. Who you contact will probably depend on your personal budget. How do I ask reviewers to read my book? When you're pitching to reviewers, you don't want to be appearing like a rando who's just flinging your book at anyone and everyone. If you don't already know what a reviewer likes, you're gonna have to take the time to figure that out. Follow them or subscribe to their channel before you contact them, otherwise you're sending a pretty crappy message that you want to use them, but you don't actually believe in their content. To find out what reviewers like, you can check out books that they have previously reviewed, you can watch their videos, you can read their posts, etc. Lots of reviewers will talk about the tropes that they like and the subgenres they enjoy reading, as well as character types they're fond of. Those are things you want to know before pitching. It can also be helpful to find out if your reviewer has something specific in common with one of your leads. When you're pitching a book, you shouldn't just be asking them to read it. You should be telling them why you know that they would probably like it. So, for example, when I was looking for reviewers for Heart and Soul, if someone mentioned that they love a marriage of convenience trope, I would 100% bring that up in the pitch because that is the main trope in Heart and Soul. If someone's bio states that they're demisexual, bet your ass I'm bringing that up in the pitch because one of my leads is also demisexual. Book reviewers are going to be bombarded by requests, so when you're pitching, you need to give them a reason to choose your book over all of the other ones that are being flung at them. The other important consideration here is if a reviewer has a review policy. If they have a website, go to it and investigate. If they have a review policy, do not ignore it and think that you're the exception. Follow any and all instructions that a specific reviewer provides if you are intending to contact them. What do I send in my pitch? First, you want to be able to address that reviewer by name wherever possible. And then I want you to double and triple check that that name is spelled correctly. You wouldn't think I would have to say this, but I've seen quite a few reviewers mention that people are sending them pitches with their name spelled wrong. Don't be one of those people. You want to tell them 4 main things in your basic pitch. Number 1, tell them who you are and link back to any relevant channels, websites, blogs, etc. when you introduce yourself. This will make it really easy for them to see what kind of person and writer you are if they choose to investigate further. Number 2, tell them why you're contacting them. Be very clear that you are interested in sending them an ARC. Number 3, tell them what you like about their channel or blog. This is going to let them know that you are not just mass emailing people, and it will show that you cared enough to take the time. And number 4, tell them why you think they would like your book. Then be sure to thank them for their time and let them know that they can contact you if they have any questions or concerns, or if they are interested in receiving an ARC. You want to be including all of your basic book information in your pitch. The information that I provide is the title, the genre, the target audience, the point of view, setting, main tropes, representation to expect, any content warnings, the release date, and the book blurb. All of this is going to give a short and concise list of information to your reviewers so that they don't have to waste their time. Some people have strong opinions about POV and they might accept or reject based on that. Or the setting might intrigue them. Or the target audience might be for a group that they're not keen on reading. Don't make them hunt for this information. Make it easy for your reviewers to make an informed decision on your book. And there's nothing wrong with building yourself a template so that you don't forget what information to include, as long as you are doing a full customization for sending to each reviewer. How do I keep track of everything? I personally use a spreadsheet for this, and I go through multiple stages, and I will go through each one of those with you now. The first spreadsheet is the initial list. This is where you write down every single reviewer you come across that even vaguely relates to your book. If you're writing fantasy, grab the initial information from every book reviewer you see reading fantasy. From there, you're going to be able to narrow down with your research. It's not always obvious what a reviewer likes beyond the genre, so in a lot of cases, you're going to have to sift through a whole lot of information to find that out. In this first list, I include a column for the blog or channel name, the follower count, how to contact them, and a link so that it is very easy to reference back to it. List number 2 is reviewers to pursue. This list is your initial list narrowed down with your research to include only the people that you are sure are probably going to like your book. The information that I gathered here would be the channel or blog name, whether they do individual or grouped reviews, the main sticking point, so for me that would be that they are a romance reader, that they are a queer book reviewer, or that they are interested in K-pop. And I also keep the contact listing and the link for their channel on this sheet. I very much recommend that the people on this list be reviewers that you actually like and respect. While this is a marketing opportunity, you should not be treating reviewers like that's all they are to you. By the time you get around to sending a pitch, you should be familiar with their style, their preferences, etc. And spreadsheet number 3 is responses. This is actually divided into 3 spreadsheets for me, and I have one that is all people who have replied with a yes, people I have yet to hear back from, and people who have declined along with their reason why. At this point, you're going to need to be keeping track of a lot more stuff. The information that I collect at this point is the blog or channel name, the actual name of the person who is doing the reviewing, whether it is a Bookstagram, a YouTube channel, or a book blog, their contact information, the date that I sent my pitch and the date that they responded to my pitch, whether they're getting a physical book or an e-ARC, what format they requested it in, the date that I sent the book, the date that they post their review, whether that review was positive or negative, and a link to that review. I know that you've probably heard that authors should not be reading reviews, but this is one case where you need to keep track of whether that person liked your work. You don't necessarily have to read the entire review, but you should at least be aware of the star rating that they gave it. The reason you need to know this is because people who liked your book will probably be more open to reading your future work. And you can be like, hey, I wrote this book that you really enjoyed. Are you interested in reading the sequel? Or are you interested in reading this other book that I've written? There's no guarantee that they will want to read your future works, but it does increase the odds from you being a total rando approaching them again. What if people don't respond? Then you move right along. Expect to receive non-responses. A lot of them. The only reviewers that you should be following up with are those who said yes to your book and then disappeared into the ether. Maybe they got busy with life. Maybe the email got lost in the void. Maybe they changed their mind. In any case, if someone says that they want your book and then you don't hear from them again, you can send a polite check-in a week or 2 later just to see what's up. Be patient. Reviewers, like authors, have a lot of demands on their time, and so they can easily lose track of things. Try not to take non-responses as a personal affront. There might be a reviewer that you would be so excited to have read your book, and they might not want to. That sucks, but you kind of just need to move on. They don't owe you a response, much less a yes. Whatever choice a reviewer makes, you need to respect that. How do I send them my book? If you're sending a digital copy of the book, then you have a few options, namely the PDF, the ePUB, or the Mobi file. The Mobi file is going to be the most secure because you are sending it directly to their Kindle. That's the one that I personally recommend you use. If your book does not come already in a Mobi file, then converting it is super duper easy. I can leave the instructions in the description below for you guys. The PDF and ePUB I usually reserve if they don't use Kindle or they specifically ask for that format. If you're sending them a physical copy, obviously you just follow your regular rules of mail. Do I send them a physical book or an e-arc? If you're in a country that has a media mailer option, then you have a little bit more flexibility. But if you are in a country like me that charges ridiculous fees to mail anything, then you have really no choice but to be discerning about who gets a physical versus the digital copy. So how do you decide? There are a few factors that can go into this choice. Some reviewers have a clear preference for physical over digital. If you have a conservative budget, then you may just want to avoid even contacting people who say they only review physical books. You can also go by follower count. If you're approaching a popular blogger or vlogger and they have 10,000 plus subscribers, be prepared to offer them both a digital and a physical copy. Or if a reviewer replies and asks for a specific format, you can honor that if you so wish. If they have a smaller platform but specifically ask for a physical copy, that would be up to your discretion and your budget to decide whether you can follow through on that. Digital copies are always going to be the most economical option, so keep that in mind when you are making your list to contact reviewers. What do I do after I send them my book? You wait. You have your list of who was sent your book and when, so you just have to sit back and wait for them to read and review. Since you're reaching out to reviewers, there are good odds that you will be tagged in the review when it goes live. If you're not religiously consuming the content of the people who agreed to review your book, then you still have that spreadsheet that has links to all their blogs and channels, so it's very easy for you to check in and see if it was posted. If it's been a long time since you sent your book and there's no review posted, try not to fret, especially if you were proactive and sent it well before your book's release. Some reviewers will post immediately after they read, some will plan it closer to your release, some will let you know in their correspondence when they plan on reviewing it, and others may even ask your preference for when you would like it to be released. I would personally lean away from following up with any reviewers if a review never manifests. Just take note in your spreadsheet not to reach out to them for your future works. If you want to disregard that suggestion, then at the very least, wait like a month after your release. What if a reviewer gives my book a bad review? Do nothing. Do not engage with bad reviews. Do not contact the reviewer about it. If you are already talking regularly to a reviewer or you have that kind of relationship, then at the very most you could ask a clarifying question, but do not be a dink to reviewers. Taste is subjective, and even if you were absolutely certain that they were going to love your book, that is no guarantee. Try not to lament too hard over any negative or mediocre reviews. These will just help legitimize your positive ones. A book that is all 5-star reviews is gonna be suspicious. A book with mixed reviews? Less so. So that is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions that weren't answered in this video, you can leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. My contemporary romance novel Heart and Soul is available for pre-order now. You can read the first 3 chapters on my website, and if you would like to enter the pre-sale giveaway, the link will be there and you can have a chance to win some awesome prizes. All the links will be in the description below for you to check out. And if romance is not your thing, there's also my other 2 books, Olympian Confessions Hades and Persephone and Olympian Confessions Hera, both of which are available now in ebook and paperback. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, then ring that bell. All my social media links will be in the description below, and I will see you all next week with another video. Bye!